Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Nick Tan Chats. My name is Nick Tan, and on today's episode I'll be chatting with you guys about an effect from Radek Hoffman. This is something that he calls not under the box. So hi again guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for showing up, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for spending some time with me today. So on today's episode, I'll be chatting with you about a card routine, alright, that is released by Radek Hoffman. Okay, so what is not under the box? Well, it's kind of like a cross between a mentalism, magic kind of a thing. You know, there's a bit of influence apparently involved, and then it ends with the production of a selection under the card box. So really briefly, what happens during the course of the routine is that you have a spectator with you, and then you remove the cards from the card box, all right? And the box is shown to be empty. You know, it does not contain anything else. The box is then set onto the table. So at this point, the cards are shown to be different, and the spectator then, well, selects one card. Okay, they remember one card, and the deck is set aside, you know, in front of the spectator. Okay, so from this point, you claim that you will be making the card disappear from the deck, and the card will appear underneath the card box. Okay, and then from here, you proceed to try and do exactly that, right? But you fail a couple of times. Okay, you know, it doesn't happen, and then at this point, you really cleanly pick up the deck and go through all the cards one at a time. The card is seen to have vanished, you know, it's no longer there, and then you can very cleanly produce the card from underneath the card box. So that's basically the effect. Now, it doesn't sound like much, okay, but it does go a little bit deeper than that, okay? But before I get to those little details, let's talk a little bit about what you get with this purchase. So what do you get when you purchase Not Under the Box? Well, it's available as a download, okay, from Penguin Magic. And in the download itself, Radek will take you through everything you need to know about this routine. He'll give you a little bit of background behind the routine, and then he will tell you all about the basic method and how to construct all the gaffes that you will need in order to perform this effect. There will be a performance of the effect for a spectator, so you can see exactly how it plays out, and then Radek will take you through the handling from start to finish so that you can also perform this effect for yourself. So I've told you guys what happens in the course of this routine, right? What happens during the routine, and well, I don't think there is a full performance of this effect available online, and I think there's a good reason for that, right? Because this is not an effect that I think, you know, will kind of fool, you know, well-informed magicians, you know, or mentalists, right? Because it uses existing methods, you know, pretty well-known methods, but what Radek has done here is he has combined them in such a way as to create a rather, well, interesting kind of an effect. So I think the value in this project is in the presentation, all right, for the spectator, right? Apparently what is happening during the routine. Because from a method standpoint, right, it's quite simple, right, to magicians, right? I think there are many ways in which you can create this effect as well, right? There are two main parts, one being the selection and the vanish of the card from the deck, and then of course the production of the card from underneath the card box. So there are many ways to go about it, but Radek has chosen a really, efficient and direct way, really clean looking as well, which I think, leaves little for you to stress about during the routine, and, you can really just focus on performing it and delivering the presentation. So what I like about this routine, is the opening line, the setup for the effect, right? Because Radek tells the spectator, I'm going to make you forget something that you've seen, and then I'm going to make you remember something that you didn't see. Right? Something along those lines, okay? And then he proceeds to perform this routine. This kind of reminded me of an effect like in the early 2000s, I think, 2003 or 4 maybe, when Peter Nardi and Mark Spellman put out an effect known as mind control, all right, where you apparently make a spectator see a playing card in a blank deck of cards, all right? So it's got that kind of a feel, but then, at the end, the card appears under the card box as well. And again, method-wise, Radek uses existing methods, well-known methods, and combine them together to create this effect, and it's difficult for me to kind of give you the sources, the exact sources, because, well, I don't want to give too much away, as to how Radek has gone about, producing this effect, right? But names such as Richard Sanders, Ben Seidman, Jason Dean, they will have little bits and pieces of stuff in the method here, okay? But I think the value again is in the presentation that Radek brings to this effect. In terms of the prep work that's involved, there will be some arts and crafts, for you to do in order to prepare the gaffs that you will need to perform the effect, okay? But it's all really simple, it's just so simple. I think you can prep everything in like, I don't know, less than 10 minutes maybe, okay? One point to note, I think, if using the exact presentation that Radek talks about in the routine, you will need to find the card case that uses this particular design. Okay, where you see the little 10 of diamonds over there. All right, in this case, right, there might be other cards as well, but in this case, mine is a 10 of diamonds. So Radek recommends this style of box to perform the effect as exactly how he does it. You don't have to use this design of box, but well, there is a little bit in there that uses that particular design. Okay, so if you want to perform it exactly like Radek, you will have to source this particular design of the bicycle box. Execution-wise, it's not difficult to do. You can really just set this up with you and carry it around with you wherever you go, and you can really perform it at a moment's notice, right? The actual mechanic of it is really simple, nothing to stress about. As long as you are practiced and rehearsed, you should have no problems doing it. The reset as well is really fast, really quick, and so I think it will play for repeat performances if you're going to do this from table to table, right? That kind of a environment, right? Speaking of environments, I think this will work pretty well close up, right? On a parlor kind of a setting, a larger audience, or even a stage show. All right, if you have projection as well, you can actually deliver this effect. But all in, really simple methods, all right, direct, simple, effective methods, and combined with the presentation that Radek has created for this particular effect, make it quite a practical piece to perform and a practical piece to know as well, especially if you're into this kind of effect, right? Combining magic with mentalism, demonstrating this kind of influence, kind of an effect. And then, the whole routine ends with like a magical, almost magical, I think, production of the card from underneath the box. So that's all I have to say about Not Under the Box by Radek Hoffman. I want to thank Radek for really kindly letting me have a look at this so that I can chat about it with you guys on this show as well. If you want to have a look at this particular release, head on over to Penguin Magic. I will leave the link in the description box down below. But that's all for today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed it and got something out of it as well, and hopefully I've introduced you to something that might not be as well known as other products out there. Okay, so do stay safe, take care of yourselves, have fun with your magic and your mentalism, and I will see you on the next one.